Hi, Paul McAndrew from the Wellness Station. And as I've mentioned to you in earlier videos, we're going to be doing videos during this challenging time, uncertain time, in 3 different categories: function, fitness, and fun. A little bit alliteration there. And relative to function, those are going to be very much Feldenkrais inspired lessons. As a Feldenkrais practitioner and as a physical therapist, I'm going to share with you the kinds of things that I help myself stay comfortable, nourished, moving well, enjoying pretty much anything that I want to do, regardless of age, and that I also impart with my patients' clientele in the lessons that I help them with. So lots of walking going on right now during this time. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to show you fairly briefly what I'm going to do in any of these lessons is I'm going to give you a brief overview so that you can take a look at it. You can stop the video at any time. I encourage you to appreciate that this is a learning approach. So even though it's going to look fairly basic, when you start to do it, you're going to realize that there's lots about it that is your brain is going to be, little guy, the little woman in the control room is going to be saying, oh, I never paid attention to how I do that particular thing, for example. So I'm going to be doing a walking lesson. We're all doing a lot of walking, beautiful time of the year here in Durham, North Carolina. And of course, during the quarantine, taking care of social distancing, etc., respecting that, we're getting out and walking, saying hello to our friends from a distance. So let's do a walking lesson, and while lying down, so that your brain can let go of its old pattern of walking, which is going to click into automatically if you stand up and start to walk. So if you want to introduce something new, eliminate the effects of gravity or minimize the effects of gravity so that your brain is more like in a neutral, more receptive state. So at any time, stop the video, pause, listen to, come back to it, do some of the lesson. But here's the lesson. You're going to lie on your back. And I'm going to somewhat arbitrarily just bend my left leg. My right leg is resting out long. Now I'm going to imagine a light shining out of my lower abdomen up on the ceiling. And I'm going to push with this foot, my left foot, so that this hip comes up and my pelvis rolls like a ball to the right. I'm maintaining a nice relaxed foot. When I push into the floor being firm pushes back up through, and I can feel a line of force coming from my foot and ankle up through to my knee, my thigh and hip, into my pelvic floor, up into my spine. Now I'd like you to next imagine not only do you have a light shining from your lower abdomen, but you also have a light shining from each one of the vertebrae. You see all these vertebrae? There's 24 movable segments in addition to the sacrum and the tailbone. So let's pretend that there's a light shining up on the ceiling from each one of those vertebrae, so that when you start to roll your pelvis, the lowest vertebrae moves first, then the next, then the next. And when you return, the last one that turned, maybe this one here, the last one that turned is the first one to come back, and then you're back to neutral and you start all over again. The idea is to actually compare. Now I'm going to bring my other leg up. So we're imagining those lights. Now I'll leave the left leg up for now. We're imagining those lights shining from each of the vertebrae, and if I had the room dark, we could see one light at a time. This one moving, the next one moving, the next one moving, the next one moving. And then the last one that moved comes back first, then the next, then the next, then the next. And my hip is back down. Now I'm going to do that for a while. I might do 5, 8, 10 repetitions. I'm going to switch to the other leg being up. Now, of course, everything is going, my pelvis is rolling like a ball that way, pushing with this foot. and vertebrae by vertebrae, I send that motion from my foot up through. Now what I'm going to begin to do is bring my upper body into it a little bit more. And again, I'm going through this more quickly than you might be at home. Stop the video, stay with that part of it, and then come back. So I'm giving you, it's kind of like an outline. And you can read the major headings and then follow through on some of the filling it in, and fill it in as much as you want to, leave it and come back to it. Sound good? Okay. So I've spent some time with the left leg up, I've got the right leg up, and I spent some time rolling the pelvis. Now what I'm going to begin to do, and this is somewhat arbitrary, because I can do lots of things with my head, but I've got a version I think you're going to like. As my pelvis rolls that way, the light from my face is going to start going towards this wall, because I'm going to roll my head the opposite way. So now you have the lower vertebrae going this way and the upper vertebrae going that way. So you're actually getting a counter rotation. And you're getting nourishment into each of the individual vertebrae. Very important for the health of your spinal joints and for your comfort. Now, the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to switch back again. Watch what I do with this arm as my pelvis rolls this way and my head rolls that way. This arm is going to slide down. The other arm is going to slide up. Now, I'm going to ask you, and I'm not going to tell you, I'm going to ask you when you're doing it, feel it in your body. And what part of your body are you inviting to join in? Where do you feel participation in your body when you invite the arms to join in? Then, after you've done that for a little bit, and by the way, you might notice, in fact, I'm sure you'll notice that going with one leg up in that orientation and then the other leg up and going the other way, one way is going to be easier than the other. Which one do you think you want to spend more time with once you recognize that? At first, which one do you want to spend more time with when you recognize that one is more responsive, it feels more familiar, it feels more natural, it feels easier? No, not the one that you're having difficulty with. Because if you focus on that one, you may actually be practicing the inefficiencies between your brain, through the nerves, to your muscles, the incorrect timing, the incorrect connection to muscles, so that you might have a pattern, a neuromuscular pattern, sensory motor combination, that in fact you're getting, that's inefficient, that's biomechanically not as smooth and graceful as it might be, and you're actually strengthening that inefficiency if you practice the pattern that isn't going so well. So you go to whatever leg, whatever combination feels like it feels lovely and nicer to you. Go with that one for a while, and then say to the little man, the little girl, the little woman in the control room, hey, now let's kind of switch that over, that whole flow of movement, so that when I go push off the other leg, it's just as easy, or easier eventually, possibly. What's happening is you're tapping into the wisdom that you already have inside of you. So take advantage of that. Okay, so after you've done that for a while, you've done one leg, you've done the other leg. After you've done this 2 or 3 different days, you start to wonder which one it was that was more difficult, because they'll get more and more symmetrical to one another as your brain, because once you show your brain, but your brain has to have the experience. Your brain doesn't know until it has life experiences coming into it. Once your brain experiences an easier way of moving, it prefers that over the more difficult way, of course. But you have to provide your brain and your body with that. Okay, so once you've done one leg, then the other leg, etc., and you're having fun, then you put both legs up. And now you just alternate rolling the pelvis one way, rolling the pelvis the other way. Imagining those lights traveling up the spine on the ceiling, coming back, traveling up the spine towards the other wall. Then you start to let the head join in. You start to let the arms join in. And after you've done that for a while, you then get up and you go for a walk, and you're going to feel, oh my goodness, what a flow that I have. In an earlier lesson that I did, walking while standing, mime walking, take a look at that and see how that connects with this one. And have a good time. The next video I'm going to be doing is going to shift a little bit to fitness, where we can take a lesson like this where you're learning how to use everything in a beautiful integrated combination, and then add a little bit more resistance to it so you're actually even getting stronger while using beautiful movements, coordinated, functional movements that are how we're designed to move without straining ourselves. Take care, be safe, keep your distance. I love you.